I had a realization the other day. I was sitting down just sketching, doing some rough drawings, trying to come up with my next episode, when I realized I haven't done any Ninja Turtles art on PopCross Studios yet. But then a few seconds later, I also realized I haven't done any Star Wars art either. So instead of trying to decide between the two, I decided, why not do both? So in this episode of PopCross Studios, I am going to take the Ninja Turtles and turn them into Jedi and Sith characters. I think this is going to be a fun challenge, but first things first, since I don't do a ton of Ninja Turtles drawings or Star Wars drawings, I gotta pull some reference images from some artists that I really like. Alright, I went through some Google searching and some Instagram accounts of artists that I really like. The three artists that I was looking at mostly were first of all Derek Laughlin, who I'm a huge fan of. He's most popular for his chibi drawings, but his Ninja Turtle chibis are really cool looking, and he's got tons of Star Wars characters, a bunch of them I'm not even that familiar with, but they're really cool looking, so I saved them all to reference their outfits and designs and stuff. And then the next artist is Sam Arriva, who actually illustrated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic for a while with IDW, I think it is. And his art is really cool. It's pretty, expressive, dynamic mix of cartoony, comic booky style. And then finally, a few images from Humberto Ramos, who I've talked about him a lot. I really love his artwork. It's very dynamic and expressive and just bombastic kind of poses. And he doesn't have a ton of Star Wars or Ninja Turtles stuff. The few images he does have of those I saved because they're really cool looking. But I just really want to get my style a little bit closer to what his is. I just love it, and I want to do something like his work for these Ninja Turtle Star Wars mashups. And then I just pulled some other artwork from some other artists I like Cheeks Galloway, and this is a comic that's got a lot of Humberto Ramos art in it. So with all that gathered, I think I've got some good ideas and a lot of good inspiration, and I think I can get into the first drawing. So let's see how this goes. Now, for each of these, I wasn't specifically going into them thinking that I was going to do mashups of certain turtles with certain other characters from the Star Wars universe, but it did kind of end up becoming that. So with this one, we got Michelangelo, and I ended up mashing him up kind of with Finn from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I was originally thinking maybe something along the lines of Savage Opress, who's the brother of Darth Maul, but I knew for this video I really wanted to mash up Darth Maul and Raphael, so I didn't really want to double up, and also personality-wise, I thought Finn and Mikey kind of lined up a little bit better. They're both a bit, they're kind of the goofy ones in their franchise, and it seemed like a fun kind of mashup. I don't want to say they're both bumbling characters, because especially Mikey, he's a ninja, he's not a bumbling character, he's very athletic and agile, but they just kind of have that sort of personality. They both seem like they embody the, you know what I'm saying? Bumbling doesn't actually describe them, but it kind of feels like it would. So for this one, I just kind of took Finn's usual outfit and put it on Mikey, and I really like this. The best part about this one to me is the pose. I think the pose is really fun. Of all the drawings that I do, this is probably the one that has the least inking work to it. I kind of do a little bit more cross-hatching and stuff with a lot of the other upcoming drawings, and I think that improves those ones over this one, but I think overall the pose for this drawing is the best one. And also, you'll notice that for all these drawings, I kind of just take the character's usual weapon and turn it into a lightsaber version of itself. And this one would definitely be the most dangerous of the batch, because nunchuck, lightsaber blade, beam, whatever the weapon part of the lightsaber is, that would definitely be a very dangerous combination, and he'd have to be very proficient with this weapon to not hurt himself. Also, I gave the character a skateboard because Mikey's got a skateboard. I made it a little bit sci-fi-like, had the wheels turned out so it's kind of like a hoverboard, and I really like this one. I think the pose is the best part of it. But let me know what you think. Here's what the Michelangelo one looks like. Is it obvious that I'm recording this video over a few separate days? I put the shirt back on, but I just realized there's something that'll probably make it obvious that this is over a few different days. Don't know why I'm breaking the YouTube illusion here. Anyway, let's get into the next drawing. Now, this next drawing of Leonardo as a Star Wars character, I had two ideas again of who I thought I might want to mash him up with. I was thinking maybe Ahsoka, because she's got the double lightsabers. I mean, I know there's a bunch of characters that have double lightsabers, but she was just kind of the first one that came to my head. I don't know her character as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is the mashup that I kind of ended up going with, and I think that works really well. Personality-wise, this is another one where I thought those two characters just went well together. They kind of strike me both as the serene, well, not serene, but like the level-headed leader type. And I mean, Leonardo, I'm quite certain, is usually the leader of the Ninja Turtles, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm most familiar with him from the prequels, and him being arguably the best part of those movies. Like, I really liked Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He's just great casting. I would love to see a solo movie of him, like, after the prequels. I think that would just be a lot of fun. And, I mean, largely, I just really like Ewan McGregor, and I want to see him swinging the lightsaber again. And another reason that I'm really glad I went with an Obi-Wan style character is because since I mostly draw superheroes, I don't get to do a lot of, like, really loose clothing, because superheroes are all very much, like, skin-tight clothes, so close to them that it's like they're barely wearing anything at all. Like, it's just painted onto them almost at sometimes. I mean, a lot of them have capes, so that's where I get to do a bit more of the flowier clothing. But Obi-Wan's got, like, these big, thick kind of Jedi robes, and I just really like getting to, like, push the sleeves up a little bit, and him having his arms up in the air. Because he's got sleeves, I can make it look like he's just moved into that position by having the sleeves swinging up a little bit. This is another one where I really like the pose. It's not as dynamic as the Michelangelo one, because he's not, like, leaping through the air or something, but this one, it's still really cool looking. He's got, you know, I mean, you can see what he's doing. It's nothing crazy, but I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out, especially with the lighting. I think the lighting from the sabers was really cool on this one. So let's take a look at how it turned out. Peanut butter break, peanut butter. This is just a thing I do in my videos now, I guess. Back to drawing. Alright, now this is the character that gave me the idea for this video. It's the one that I put on the thumbnail, I've teased this video with. It's Raphael mixed with Darth Maul, and I just love how this one turns out. Admittedly, this was actually the first one that I drew for this video, but I just pushed it farther back because I wanted to start with the Michelangelo one, and anyway, that's just all random stuff. But this one I had a lot of fun with. I probably experimented a little bit more with this one, and also with this one, the mashup was less about personality and more just about pure visual design, and I just had a lot of cool ideas in my head of what I wanted to do with this. I ended up with the weapons going with Raphael's usual weapons, the size? Is that what those two little swords are? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're called size. If I've got that wrong, somebody correct me in the comments. But anyway, making those as lightsabers, I thought that was a really fun idea. And I felt like I kind of had to mash up Raphael with a Sith character because he's got the red bandana, like red is his color. And I'm not actually totally sure when, because all the Ninja Turtles used to have red bandanas. I don't know when they switched that up. Somebody who knows the characters better, tell me in the comments below. But yeah, I just like... I mean, personally, even though Darth Maul isn't in one of the more beloved Star Wars movies, Darth Maul is just such a cool-looking character. I mean, I think he's really gotten more popular after the prequels as well, with things like, I believe he was in Rebels and the Clone Wars? Sorry, I'm not totally sure. I've only watched a few episodes of Clone Wars, but... I mean, you can't deny, even if you hate everything he's been in, you can't deny how cool looking Darth Maul is. It's just such an awesome design, and mashing him up with Raphael was a lot of fun. This is also the one that probably feels the most Humberto Ramos of the batch, because it was most fresh in my mind. He's also, because his leg is kind of stretched out into the background, and his front leg is big and coming towards us, and the pose is very dynamic. I don't know which one feels more dynamic, this one or the Raphael one, or sorry, this one or the Michelangelo one, but I'm really happy with how both of them turned out, and they're probably my two favorites of this batch. This one was also more time consuming than the others because I had to go in and do the tattoos, which is probably one of the weaker elements of this one. I probably should have spent a little bit more time making them look a little bit more like what Darth Maul's tattoos look like, but for the general purposes of this drawing, I'm pretty happy with it, and overall I think it's really cool looking. I love the ripped open shirt, and yeah, I hope you all like this one. Let me know in the comments. Here's the final version. Now, this last one admittedly had the least thought behind the design. Not to say that, I don't want to shortchange this drawing. I still really like how it turned out. It's just kind of, it popped in my head and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And this one is Donatello and Rey. And it was, admittedly, it just came to my head because Rey has it's probably not called the bow staff in Star Wars. Donatello's weapon is called the bow staff, I believe, but Rey's big metal stick thing is pretty similar looking to a bow staff, so I thought, let's do that sort of design, but with two lightsaber beams sticking out at the end, like kind of shorter ones, so it's kind of like Darth Maul's weapon, but with a longer handle. And I think I've actually seen someone do drawings of Rey with that sort of weapon, and I think is really cool looking. I would actually love to see that in the upcoming Star Wars movie, if they just give her that weapon with the lightsaber beams at the end. Maybe that's just me, but I think that would be cool. And with this one, it was the last one that I drew, and what I tried to do was, I in a lot of versions of Ninja Turtles, there's so many different designs of those characters. Some are really, really cool, and there's a lot of variation, and in a lot of them, the Ninja Turtles are all very similar body shapes, and I admittedly did do that for a lot of these ones, but for this one I decided to make him a little bit skinnier, because Donatello, from the limited amount I've seen, I mean, I know my Ninja Turtle stuff decently well, but I haven't watched and read all of the stuff. Donatello is usually the skinnier one, because he's like the brainy one of the batch, which is, you know, not necessarily a stereotype I want to push, that the smart guy is the skinnier, less athletic one, but I decided that with this last one I should change up the body types a little bit. You know what? As I'm saying that, I'm sorry, I should stop and re-record, but I really didn't change up the body types that much. They are all very similar. I mean, this one, he's a little bit more stretched out, his limbs are a little bit longer, so they look, he looks a little bit more on the skinnier side. Maybe also something I did with his head, but either way, I do like how this one turned out, and I think the pose is another fun one. It's kind of more like the Leonardo pose, where it's not super dynamic, but it is, it's not dynamic in the sense that he's not springing up or jumping or about to hit someone. This looks a little bit more like he's just landed to the ground and is prepped for a fight. Also, I messed up the knuckles on his hand that's on the ground. That's the one thing about this piece that I really don't like, and I'll have to keep that in mind next time. Just with the really flat hands, the way I did the knuckles really small doesn't work so well. But anyway, overall I do like this one, so let's take a look at how I wrapped it up. You know, for all of you, this is the end of the video, but for me, this isn't the last thing I'm recording, because I record stuff out of order sometime. I still have to do my on-cam for the time-lapse. There's a little random peek behind the curtain, but thanks so much for watching another episode of PopCross Studios. These look awesome. That might sound a little bit arrogant, but I can't help it. I really like how these turned out. Funny how a little cheap, easy-to-do paint stroke in the background can make things really pop. But anyway, this has been PopCross Studios, home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that nonsense. And the next video is the community redraw episode. Lots of supervillains coming your way, submitted by all of you. And I'll also be announcing the theme for the next one, so if you didn't get to submit this time, or even if you did, you'll, in the next video, figure out the upcoming theme. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!